What if I told you that the breakthrough you've been waiting for is closer than you think? What if the delays, the struggles, and the setbacks weren't signs of failure, but proof that something big is on the way? Too many people give up just before their miracle happens because they can't see what's happening behind the scenes. But today, I want to remind you, God is working even when you don't see it. Stay in position because your breakthrough is coming sooner than you expect. Good morning / afternoon / evening, everyone. I don't know what battles you've been facing, what dreams seem delayed, or what challenges have made you question if your breakthrough will ever come. But I'm here to tell you, the breakthrough you've been waiting for is about to happen. You may feel like you've been stuck in the same place for too long. The doors you knocked on haven't opened, the prayers you whispered seem unanswered, and the effort you put in doesn't seem to be paying off. But listen, just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. In life, the greatest victories often come after the toughest battles. Just before the sun rises, the night is at its darkest. And just before a major breakthrough, it can feel like everything is working against you. But this is the moment to stand firm. Don't quit. Don't give up. Breakthroughs don't happen when we expect them, they come when we least expect. When we've exhausted all our strength and have no choice but to trust that something greater is working on our behalf. The struggles you faced are not signs of failure, they are signs that you are being prepared for something bigger than you ever imagined. I want you to shift your mindset today. Start expecting good things to happen. Start preparing for your breakthrough as if it has already arrived. Speak life over your dreams. Speak victory over your battles. Speak joy over your sorrows. Because your breakthrough is closer than you think. Stay faithful. Keep believing. The moment you've been waiting for is just around the corner. Faith and patience open doors in ways we often fail to recognize. Many times people give up just before the breakthrough happens, simply because they don't see immediate results. But the truth is, the greatest miracles, the biggest transformations, and the most powerful testimonies come when we choose to trust, even when we don't see the evidence. Faith is not just about believing when things are going well, it's about standing firm when nothing seems to be working. It's about holding on to hope when everything in your life tells you to give up. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When God places a dream, a calling, or a vision in your heart, it's not by accident. That desire for breakthrough, for success, for healing, for restoration, it was planted in you for a reason. But just because you have faith doesn't mean everything will happen instantly. That's where patience comes in. The waiting period is the most challenging part of the journey, but it's also the most crucial. It's in the waiting season that we develop character, resilience, and trust in God's perfect timing. James 1:34 reminds us, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. This means that the waiting is not a punishment, it's a preparation. God is not denying you, He is refining you. Think about the story of Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream that one day he would be a ruler, but instead of immediate success, he faced betrayal, slavery, false accusations, and imprisonment. For years, it seemed like everything was working against him. But Joseph remained faithful. He trusted God even when it didn't make sense. And in God's perfect timing, he was not only released from prison, but elevated to a position of power that saved an entire nation. If Joseph had given up in the middle of his struggle, he would have missed the destiny God had prepared for him. That's the power of faith and patience. It keeps you in position even when nothing makes sense. It strengthens you when you feel weak. It reminds you that delay is not denial. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is already set in motion, but you must be willing to endure the process. Too often people pray for a breakthrough but quit because it takes longer than expected. But what if the moment you give up, is the moment right before your blessing. God's timing is perfect. We live in a world that teaches instant gratification, fast success, overnight results, and immediate rewards. But God doesn't operate on human schedules. He works according to His divine plan, and when we trust in Him, we align ourselves with His greater purpose. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." Waiting on the Lord is not passive, it's active. It's preparing for what you've prayed for. It's positioning yourself for the door that is about to open. Faith and patience are inseparable. If you have faith but no patience, you'll become frustrated when things don't happen instantly. If you have patience but no faith, you'll wait without expectation and eventually lose hope. But when you combine the two, you create an unstoppable force that aligns you with God's will. You begin to understand that every delay is for a reason, every challenge is an opportunity, and every obstacle is a setup for something greater. Your breakthrough is not just about you, it's about the people who will be impacted by your testimony. When you endure with faith, you inspire others to do the same. When you refuse to quit, you become a living example of what it means to trust God. Your journey, your struggles, your perseverance, all of it is preparing you to be a vessel for something far greater than you can imagine. So don't lose heart, keep praying, keep believing, and keep walking in faith. The door that has been closed for so long is about to swing wide open. Stay patient, stay faithful, and watch as God does exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or imagine. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is closer than you think. Challenges are part of the process, and they play a crucial role in preparing you for the breakthrough you have been praying for. Many people want success, healing, financial freedom, or a new opportunity, but they don't want to endure the struggles that come with it. The truth is, every great story, every powerful testimony, and every life-changing breakthrough is birthed through challenges. Difficulties are not a sign that you are failing, they are proof that you are growing. God allows trials not to break you, but to shape you into the person who can handle the blessing that is coming. Look at the story of David. He was anointed to be king, but before he could step into his destiny, he had to face Goliath. He had to run for his life from King Saul. He had to endure years of hardship and uncertainty. If David had not gone through those trials, he would not have been ready to rule as king. The challenges refined him, strengthened him, and prepared him for the throne. In the same way, the obstacles in your life are not there to destroy you, they are there to equip you for what is ahead. When we go through hardships, it's easy to feel like God has abandoned us. We wonder why things are not working out, why doors remain closed, and why we have to struggle so much. But God never promised a life without struggles. He promised that He would be with us through them. In John 16:33, Jesus said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." This verse is a reminder that challenges are inevitable, but they are not the end of the story. Every difficulty you face is part of a divine process leading to your breakthrough. Sometimes the reason God allows challenges is to test your faith. Will you still believe when things don't go as planned? Will you still trust Him when you don't see immediate results? Faith is easy when everything is going well, but real faith is proven in the fire of adversity. When the Israelites were in the wilderness, they faced hunger, thirst, and uncertainty. Many of them complained and doubted God, even after seeing miracles. But those who remained faithful and trusted in God's promises were the ones who entered the promised land. Challenges reveal the depth of your faith and prepare you to handle greater blessings. Another reason challenges are necessary is that they build endurance. If you received everything you wanted instantly, you wouldn't develop the strength, wisdom, or character to sustain it. Just like an athlete must train through pain and exhaustion to build endurance, you must go through trials to develop the perseverance needed for your breakthrough. James 1:12 says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." Your trials are not in vain. They are producing endurance, faith, and spiritual maturity that will prepare you for the next level. Challenges also serve as a way to remove what is not needed in your life. Sometimes we hold on to things, people, or habits that are not aligned with our purpose. Difficult times have a way of revealing what truly matters. They strip away distractions and force us to rely on God rather than our own strength. When you go through struggles, you start to see who your true friends are. You learn what is truly important. You let go of things that were holding you back. In the moment, it may feel painful, but in the long run, it is setting you free for something greater. God uses difficulties to prepare you for the weight of your breakthrough. If you are praying for financial increase, He might first allow you to go through a season of financial struggle to teach you stewardship. If you are asking for a leadership role, He might put you in situations where you must first learn humility and patience. If you are believing for a restored relationship, He might allow you to go through a period of isolation to refine your character. Every challenge has a purpose, and when you trust that God is in control, you start to see trials as preparation rather than punishment. One of the biggest mistakes people make is giving up too soon. They pray, they work hard, they push through for a while, but when they don't see immediate results, they quit. But what if your breakthrough was just one more step away? What if the difficulty you are facing right now is the final test before your victory? So many people miss their moment because they allow frustration, discouragement, or fear to stop them. But the ones who push through, who keep going despite the pain, are the ones who see the promises of God fulfilled in their lives. No matter what challenge you are facing right now, remember that it is not the end of your story. The difficulties, the delays, the setbacks, they are all part of the process. They are strengthening you, refining you, and positioning you for what's next. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "What is God teaching me through this?" When you shift your mindset, you will begin to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Keep your faith strong, stay patient, and trust that your breakthrough is coming. Believing before you see it is one of the greatest tests of faith, and it is the key to unlocking the breakthrough you've been waiting for. In a world that thrives on tangible proof and visible results, it can be difficult to trust in something that has not yet manifested. But faith requires you to see with spiritual eyes before anything changes in the natural. What you believe in your heart will eventually become your reality, but the process begins long before the results are visible. The greatest miracles, the most powerful transformations, and the most significant breakthroughs happen when people dare to believe before they see any evidence. The Bible is filled with examples of people who had to believe before they saw. Abraham was promised that he would be the father of many nations, yet for years he and Sarah remained childless. Every natural sign pointed to impossibility, old age, barrenness, and years of waiting. Yet Romans 4:18 says, "Against all hope, Abraham's breakthrough did not come because he saw immediate results. It came because he chose to believe in God's promise even when there was no reason to hope." Faith is the ability to stand on God's word when everything around you suggests otherwise. It is the confidence that what God has spoken over your life will come to pass, even if you don't see it yet. Many people pray for a breakthrough, but in their hearts, they are filled with doubt. They look at their situation, and because they don't see immediate change, They assume nothing is happening, but faith does not work that way. Before you see healing, you must believe that you are healed. Before you see financial breakthrough, you must believe that God is your provider. Before you see restoration in your family, you must believe that reconciliation is already in motion. This is not about blind optimism. It is about standing on the unshakable promises of God. Hebrews 11:01 says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." That means your faith is not based on what is visible, it is based on the certainty that God is working behind the scenes. One of the reasons many people never experience their breakthrough is that they are waiting for proof before they believe. They say, "I'll believe it when I see it," but that mindset contradicts the very nature of faith. If you only believe when you see results, then you are relying on sight, not faith. But true faith requires you to believe even when the odds are against you, even when there is no sign of progress, even when every logical reason tells you to give up. God moves in the lives of those who trust Him completely, even when there is no visible evidence that things are changing. Take the story of the Israelites when they were marching around the walls of Jericho. God instructed them to walk around the city for 7 days, and on the 7th day the walls would fall. But for 6 days nothing happened. No cracks in the walls, no signs of weakness, just silence. Imagine if they had stopped on the 6th day because they saw no evidence of change. But they kept believing, they kept marching, and on the 7th day the breakthrough came. Many people quit just before their miracle happens because they expect to see results too soon. But faith means continuing to believe, continuing to declare God's promises, and continuing to prepare for your breakthrough even when there is no visible sign that it is coming. When you truly believe before you see it, your actions will align with your faith. You will start preparing for the blessing as if it has already arrived. If you are believing for a job, you will start dressing for interviews before you even receive a call. If you are believing for a house, you will start packing in expectation of the move. If you are believing for healing, you will start thanking God as if you are already healed. This kind of faith activates miracles because it shows God that you trust Him completely. Doubt and fear will always try to creep in, especially when time passes without visible change. The enemy will whisper, "It's never going to happen, you're wasting your time," or "God has forgotten you." But those are lies meant to weaken your faith. You must guard your mind and heart against negativity. Speak life over your situation. Declare God's promises daily. Surround yourself with people who will encourage your faith, not feed your doubt. What you feed will grow. If you feed your faith, it will become unshakable. If you feed your doubts, they will consume you. God is not limited by time, circumstances, or human expectations. He works in ways we cannot see, and His timing is always perfect. Just because you don't see your breakthrough yet does not mean it isn't already in motion. Keep believing, keep declaring, and keep expecting, because when you have faith before you see it, you position yourself to receive everything that God has promised. Staying in position for your breakthrough is one of the most critical aspects of receiving what God has promised you. Many people pray, work hard, and trust God for a season, but when things take longer than expected, they grow weary and step out of alignment. They begin to doubt, lose focus, or even walk away from the very place where their blessing is set to arrive. But the truth is, breakthroughs often come when you least expect them, and the key to receiving them is staying in the right position, mentally, spiritually, and physically, so that when God opens the door, you are ready to walk through it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is quitting too soon. They put in effort, they trust for a while, but when things don't change immediately, frustration takes over. They start questioning whether they heard from God correctly. They wonder if their prayers are being ignored. They begin to compare their journey to others and assume that because they don't see progress, nothing is happening. But just because there is no visible evidence does not mean the breakthrough isn't already on its way. This is where faith comes in. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." Waiting on the Lord is not passive. It is an active faith that keeps you in position even when nothing appears to be happening. Think about a farmer who plants seeds in the ground. He does not see immediate results. For weeks, the soil looks the same, and there is no visible proof that anything is growing. But underneath the surface, roots are forming, growth is happening, and in due season, the harvest will come. If the farmer gives up too soon and stops watering the soil, the harvest will be lost. The same applies to breakthroughs. Many times God is working behind the scenes, setting things in motion, but if you step out of position before the appointed time, you could miss what He has prepared for you. The Bible gives a powerful example of this in the story of Elijah. In 1 Kings 18, there had been a drought in the land for 3 years. Elijah prayed for rain and sent his servant to look for any sign of clouds. The servant came back and reported, "There is nothing." But Elijah didn't give up. He sent the servant back 7 times before a small cloud finally appeared. Most people would have quit after the first or second time, but Elijah knew that his breakthrough was coming. Even when he saw nothing, he stayed in position, kept praying, and kept expecting, and in the end, the rain came. Staying in position means continuing to do what God has called you to do, even when it feels like nothing is changing. If you are believing for a job, keep applying, keep preparing, and keep learning new skills. If you are believing for healing, keep declaring God's promises over your body and trusting that He is working in ways you cannot see. If you are believing for restoration in a relationship, continue walking in love and forgiveness, even if things look the same. Movement is happening in the spiritual realm long before you see it in the physical. Another reason why many people step out of position is because of distractions. The enemy knows that if he can destroy you, he will try to distract you. He will send opportunities that look good but are not aligned with your purpose. He will bring people into your life who discourage you and make you doubt God's promises. He will use fear, worry, and busyness to pull you away from what God has called you to do. This is why it is so important to stay focused. Proverbs 4:25-26 says, "Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths for your feet, and be steadfast in all your ways." Staying in position also requires obedience. Sometimes God will ask you to do something that doesn't make sense. He might tell you to take a step of faith, to give when you feel like you don't have enough, or to stay in a difficult situation longer than you plan. Obedience is often the key that unlocks the breakthrough. When Naaman, a commander in the Syrian army, wanted to be healed of leprosy, the prophet Elisha told him to dip himself in the Jordan River 7 times. 2 Kings 5. At first, Naaman was angry because he expected an instant miracle, but when he finally obeyed, his healing came. If you give up too soon, you may never know how close you were to your breakthrough. Many people are on the verge of something incredible, but they stop pushing forward because the process takes longer than they expected. The moment when you feel the most tired, the most discouraged, and the most tempted to quit is often the moment just before your breakthrough happens. That is when you must hold on the tightest, pray the hardest, and stand the firmest. God is faithful. He is not a man that he should lie. If he has placed a dream in your heart, a calling on your life, or a promise in his word, it will come to pass. But you must remain in position. Keep praying, keep believing, and keep doing what he has called you to do. Because at the right time, in the right season, your breakthrough will arrive. Faith is powerful, but faith without action is incomplete. Many people pray for a breakthrough, believe for a miracle, and wait for things to change, but they fail to take the necessary steps to receive what God has promised. The truth is, breakthroughs don't just happen by waiting alone. They require movement. God responds to faith, but He also expects obedience, preparation, and action. If you are waiting for a breakthrough, you must ask yourself, am I doing what God has called me to do? What is God calling me to do? The Bible is full of stories where God's power was revealed, but in almost every case, people had to take action before the miracle occurred. When Peter walked on water, it didn't happen while he stayed in the boat. It happened when he stepped out. Matthew 14:29. When the Israelites needed the walls of Jericho to fall, they had to march around the city for 7 days before the breakthrough came. Joshua 6. When the woman with the issue of blood wanted to be healed, she didn't just sit back and hope. She pressed through the crowd and touched Jesus' garment. Mark 5:27, 29 through 29. Every one of these breakthroughs required action. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for perfect conditions before they move. They say, I'll start my business when I have more money. I'll pursue my dream when I have more time. Or I'll step out in faith when I feel ready. But the truth is, if you wait for perfect conditions, you will never move. Ecclesiastes 11:04 says, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. This means that if you are constantly waiting for the right moment, you will miss your opportunity. Breakthroughs don't come to those who wait passively. They come to those who step out in faith, even when the conditions aren't ideal. Another reason people fail to take action is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what others will think. These things keep many people stuck. They feel God calling them to something greater, but instead of moving forward, they hesitate. But here's the reality. If you let fear stop you, you will never experience the breakthrough God has for you. Fear is a tool the enemy uses to keep you from stepping into your purpose. That's why 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. If God has placed a dream in your heart, He will give you the strength to walk in it. But you must be willing to move despite the fear. Action is also a demonstration of faith. When you take a step forward, even before you see the results, you are showing God that you trust Him. Imagine a farmer who prays for a harvest but never plants any seeds. No matter how much he believes, if he does not put seeds in the ground, he will never see results. The same principle applies to breakthroughs. If you are praying for a new opportunity, are you preparing for it? If you are believing for financial increase, are you managing what you have wisely? If you are trusting for a healed relationship, are you making the effort to communicate and reconcile? Faith without action is incomplete, and God blesses those who are willing to step forward. Some breakthroughs require persistence. Many people try once or twice and then give up when they don't see immediate results. But the Bible teaches that persistence is key. When Elijah prayed for rain after a long drought, he didn't just pray once and stop. He sent his servant to check the sky 7 times before the rain finally came. 1 Kings 18:43-44. What if he had stopped at the 6th time? Some people are on the verge of their breakthrough but give up too soon. Keep pushing, keep praying, and keep acting in faith. Your breakthrough is tied to your movement. When God calls you to step out, don't hesitate. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't let fear hold you back. When you take action in faith, you position yourself for the breakthrough you've been waiting for.